It's a story that may have you wondering what's going on inside your mouth every time you chew a piece of gum or drink hot coffee. Do you think you have silver fillings? Well, the question some people are asking is, are they safe? What's inside this tiny capsule has been at the center of a controversy that's raged for decades.
I don't think the material should be allowed in the marketplace.
We haven't put it in our own office for 10+ years.
All I know is that all of the studies have shown that it's a safe and effective material.
By law, this material must remain in a tightly sealed container until it's prepared by a licensed professional. Only then is it ready to be implanted in your tooth. First used by the French more than 150 years ago, this mixture of metals is in millions of mouths today. What some people may not realize is that amalgam, or silver fillings as they're more commonly known, contain about 50% mercury.
The liquid portion is mercury. The powder portion is called an alloy. And within that alloy there is silver, copper, zinc, and tin.
For 32 years, Dr. Merle Nunnemaker has been drilling and filling the holes in people's teeth. He says amalgam is extremely useful.
It's a very good material, very durable, very long-lasting, and it's safe.
Dr. Nunnemaker acknowledges concerns about mercury's toxicity and is aware of its critics who say it can cause neurological disorders in some patients.
I think people are concerned because they focus on mercury. They say, oh my God, there's mercury.
But like many dentists, Dr. Nunnemaker insists because the mercury is sealed in the amalgam, its toxic properties are sealed as well.
When mercury is combined with the alloy in the form of amalgam, it combines those materials together to where it's a safe and effective material.
That is, as long as the filling remains in the mouth. If a filling containing mercury is removed, federal law requires the mercury to be handled and disposed of as a hazardous material.
It's not safe to expose everybody to mercury. It should be banned, yes.
Dr. David Kennedy is on the opposite end of the debate. He claims that the mercury in fillings can be and is absorbed into the body via saliva or even as a toxic vapor emitted from silver fillings when you chew or when they're heated.
If I put an implant in your body that leaks a well-known poisonous heavy metal, is that safe? Well, certainly not.
The debate over how to classify and treat mercury fillings has raged among dentists for years, but now the Food and Drug Administration is being forced to act. This 21-page lawsuit filed in 2007 by the nonprofit Moms Against Mercury and 10 other plaintiffs across the country pushed the Food and Drug Administration to do something the agency officially waffled on for decades. Acknowledge that the mercury in amalgam fillings may have neurotoxic effects on the nervous systems of developing children and fetuses, and reclassify by this summer how amalgam's hazardous properties are handled, labeled, and disposed of. The FDA could also require dentists to inform patients of any potential risks associated with mercury before amalgam is implanted in their teeth. The American Dental Association says it supports the reclassification, which would call for the implementation of additional safety procedures, but maintains there are no major health risks associated with its current use.
In certain circumstances, it's one of the best materials.
Missouri Dental Association Representative Dr. Thomas Stone cautions the FDA that an outright ban could be costly for many dentists and patients who rely on it.
I think it would be hard on certain populations of my practice.
Still, other dentists see both sides of the debate. Dr. Craig Harry, based in Leawood, is among a growing number of dentists who have simply stopped using mercury altogether in their practices.
Patients will pretty much accept what you recommend, but we just decided not to recommend or have amalgam in our office. The safety, I'll admit, was part of it.
While Harry says he believes the risk of using mercury is minimal, it did play a role in his decision to discontinue using it. But even more compelling, he says, is the availability of arguably better alternatives, like resin composites or porcelain.
Since they look better and that's what people want, there's really no justification to use amalgam anymore.
And as technology moves forward and better restorative dental materials are perfected, amalgam users like Dr. Stone say the controversy will sort itself out.
I think that the important thing to remember is it's an important material, and until they find the end-all, cure-all replacement for it, we're still going to need that for certain circumstances.
The FDA's deadline to reclassify these amalgam fillings is just over a week away. The highly anticipated decision could have far-reaching implications that could affect your next visit to the dentist. Now, late last week, we did receive a statement from the FDA that provides some insight into how the agency views the debate. Although mercury can be toxic in some instances, the FDA has not determined that dental amalgams that contain mercury have adverse health effects. The final rules are due next Tuesday. We'll let you know what it means for you. Usher Qureshi, KCTV 5 News. The FDA ruling today came after years of controversy and debate. Ultimately, a lawsuit forced the agency to finally reclassify how silver fillings' hazardous properties are handled, labeled, and disposed of. There's never been any question that mercury is toxic. The only question before the FDA has been how to classify its toxicity once it's filled and sealed in a dental cavity. After years of prodding, the FDA's deadline to reclassify the mercury amalgam fillings arrived today.
Over the course of many years, there's been a significant amount of controversy about dental amalgam and whether the mercury vapor that is released from dental amalgam has any harmful effects. And we felt that we would classify this into Class 2 because that allows us to issue special controls.
Those special controls impose changes to the labeling, which could include warnings against the use of dental amalgam in patients with mercury allergy. The dental professionals use adequate ventilation when handling dental amalgam, and a statement about the risks of inhaled mercury vapor. But a closer look at the FDA's decision shows a radical change in the warning language that it removed today about mercury and its toxicity. Charles Brown is an attorney who helped draft the original lawsuit that pushed the FDA to act. He calls today's announcement a shocking step backward.
A year ago, the Food and Drug Administration warned on its website that mercury from the silver fillings could cause neurological harm to children and to fetuses. Today, FDA, for the first time in memory, withdrew warnings of neurological and reproductive damage from its warnings. It is unconscionable. It is outrageous that the Food and Drug Administration has backed away from the children of America in order to give an assist to the dental products industry in this country.
Despite today's reclassification, the FDA maintains that the levels of mercury vapor released by these silver fillings are not high enough to cause harm in patients. So what does all of this mean for you? Well, not much. The reclassification of dental amalgam fillings from Class 1, low risk, to Class 2, moderate risk, will have little effect on your next visit to the dentist, as mercury will continue to be the main ingredient in dental amalgam fillings. Attorney Charles Brown says the ruling may mean he will have to take the FDA back to court, assuring that this debate is far from over. If you'd like to read more about the FDA's reclassification and a statement from the American Dental Association on today's ruling, you can go to our website at kctv5.com. Usher Qureshi, KCTV 5 News.
In 2006, the FDA Joint Panel concluded by a vote of 13-7 that the FDA draft white paper does not objectively or clearly present the current state of knowledge about mercury exposure and the health effects of amalgam. The conclusion that amalgam is safe is not reasonable given the amount and quality of information available at that time. On July 28, 2009, in defiance of their own experts and in the face of overwhelming evidence of harm, the FDA dentists decreed mercury safe for everyone.